beautiful friends. I wanted to show you this image that you might have seen before. I even saw Ramona Lappin using it too. It's actually an image that I created many, many years ago. I was working for the government, but I was meditating like as much as I could. And I was working for the European government, so lunch breaks are 60 minutes, unlike here in the US. And so every day during my lunch break I would go and meditate. And the office that we had was next to the Brandenburg Tor in Berlin, so a pretty amazing place. And so I would just go and sit in the park and I would meditate. And I was always getting amazing visitations in my meditations. And so I'm sitting there meditating in my lunch break, and all these beautiful angelic beings came to me and they asked me to create this image. And, this was in like 2006. So I, didn't have anything on me to create it, and I don't know how to create this. So when I got back to the office, I just took all the pencils I could find and I started drawing this image that they gave me. And then I contacted my friend who's a designer and I said, quickly create this. And so he created it and then he sent it back to me. And I was like, no, that's not exactly what it's supposed to be like. And so I sent it back, and this was the second try. And it's absolutely exactly the way these angelic beings wanted to create it. Now, to me, this was in 2006. Little did I know about all the things that were going to happen to planet Earth. But to me, this shows exactly what the Earth is going through and what this ascension process is all about. Every day when I communicate with mainly Divine Mother, I say, so what's important today, because the divine plan is changing, as you know, quite a bit. It really depends on what humanity is doing. And that is kind of like, we want a divine plan, don't we? We want someone to say, oh yeah, it's going to be like this. But you also maybe heard Patricia saying that if it is not changeable, they will not even tell us if it is not good. Because why even tell us if it's not changeable? But if it is changeable, then please, let us participate in this divine plan. And so I know that every single day as a collective, it really matters what we do. It really matters what we think. It really matters what we say. It really matters who we are in this world. And so I ask Divine Mother every day, what's new? What do we need to know today? And I know Patricia does the same thing, because that's how these weekly vlogs come into being. Because things change. Not only because we change, but of course also what changes around us. And what changes around us is the fact that we are part of a very big cosmic and universal system. And so things change within the galaxy, things change within the universe, things change within cosmos, which then changes us or gives us the opportunity to change as well. And so, as you know, this is a big body that we are part of. We are body of this amazing, at least let's think about cosmic terms, cosmos. Let's think about within cosmos having all the universes, and then the little thing which is called our galaxy. That's a big body to be part of, and yet within cosmic creation it's so little. I always say, when I travel out of body and I look at galaxies, it's like looking just at a field of flowers. Every galaxy has a different shape, and they are flowers, beautiful flowers blossoming in the body of a universe. And then once you get out of a universe, you see the universes are like trees. So it's all just nature, trees and flowers, galaxies and universes, it's amazing. But the thing is that just like we have a body, we have different organs, we have different systems, we have so many cells, like there's a lot going on in just our little microcosm, let alone then in the macrocosm. The thing is that when something changes within the body, which is Divine Mother, then of course everything is affected. So think about that. So when Divine Mother changes a little bit in peace within her cosmic body, us tiny little cells are invited to change as well. And so that's the big invitation to change. What is it we're changing from? We're changing from beings who disconnected from Divine Mother. And when you really want to understand what we really disconnected from, we disconnected from the fullness of love. So it's not just Divine Mother that is all love, it's also Divine Source that is all love. And so this planet, She needs to be bathed in love once again so that she can restore her beautiful body, as you know. As one of the things that, you know, as mystics, I don't know if it's just me, but I think very often what's missing in spirituality actually is the deep, deep, deep understanding of manifested nature. And that manifested nature, meaning water, soil, nature as trees, plants, air, it all matters. And so I know people who say they are mystics, but they don't care at all about nature, meaning, you know, meditating 3 hours a day and beautiful postures, you know, silent meditation. That's wonderful. And at the same time, what's really important is the full-blown understanding of nature. Nature, I tell her all the time, I say, you know, Mother, you are hiding in plain sight, because somehow it is true. She is always in all elements that surround us. You know, Sadhguru, he's doing this amazing thing about soil depletion. You know, again, as a mystic, we do have to also build a relationship with all the elements that surround us to show our amazing understanding, because to me, that's the true understanding. Who understands the mother understands the elements. And actually all the miracle performing that goes among the yogis, they all have to have complete command of the 5 elements. And so one day Divine Mother started to come inside of my body, and I always said that was unpleasant because she let me feel her pain. And her pain was so big, but her pain was the pain of nature. It was the pain of pollution. It was the pain of garbage. It was the pain of, you know, not recycling. It was the pain of all the stuff that ends up in the landfill. And, you know, again, I always have recycled. I've always done all of it, but it was big. When she let me feel her pain of what the elements feel when humans don't care about the quality of air, quality of water, and so on and so on. And somehow it sometimes feels to me like, oh my gosh, this is such a, you know, how can we ever change consciousness of humanity? You know, I mean, it's big, but it is part of our ascension process, is actually to deeply, deeply, deeply care, because caring is the nature of our mother. She is the one who wants us to also deeply care. She wants us to deeply care for not only our loved ones, which I think we all anyway feel, but also, and that's not always the case, by the way, as you know, also. And so she wants us to care for the earth, for nature, for also all that surrounds us, for the air. She wants us to care specifically for the children, for the food, the way that we produce food so that it's clean and good to our bodies, which is also our mother. And so the way that we treat the body, you know, nothing too obsessive, you know, it's hard to explain exactly what the mother feels about our body, but she wants to just allow everything to thrive. Thriving is her nature. When, for example, you remove the entire family of humanity from this planet, she will find her balance and eventually she will thrive again. But, you know, we came here to be deeply, deeply connected to the planet. We came here to be so deeply connected. And again, I think in mysticism, very often the body was kind of looked at as if like the body was a problem. And yet, how could you be here without the body of the mother that we are in? How could we be here? We are focused into this tuning fork that is supposed to be actually thriving in this world, being 100% healthy. That was our original blueprint, of course. Because when you take nature and you just take the microcosm of her, which is the physical body, for example, she will nourish every cell as long as the flow is open. Oh, thank you, Gurga, for pointing out you have all the great quotes from Yogananda, you know, because I still need to study Yogananda's writings so that I know that everything he told me, I can find also his writing. You know, the body, I've experienced the body at the original creation. And I know that many of you have these wonderful memories, but when I saw what the body used to be, oh my goodness, it was this incredible being with its own consciousness. That's why we speak about the body being, of course, conscious, because nature is conscious. Every little bit of nature is conscious. And so then the intelligence of our cosmic mother is like the kind of the internet. So you have the internet that is then feeding into all the devices and everything, which is the body, which is a tree, which is a plant, which is a star, which is the planet, and all of it, you know. And so when everything is fully functioning, meaning everybody is liberated and free of blockages, then the system can work really well. It's like pipes. When you have pipes and they are open, everything can run through them and work really well. But if you start putting blockages into any systems, then of course the system has a hurdle. And so humanity became kind of a hurdle. You know, every single one of us, you know, very few beings on this planet actually are fully liberated, where the system can operate through them fully and completely. Now, the funny thing is, of course, Divine Mother wanted all of us to be fully liberated to start with. It's not like, oh, now it is our goal to get there, but originally we were all free, and so she could run through us. And she always tells me she wanted to be the one who animates us. And I thought it was such a wonderful way to explain this. The animating power, where she moves you and you are her really instrument, as Patricia says, you know, to borrow words from Patricia as well. We were meant to be our unique, very unique tuning fork, not only through the body, but also consciousness. Then Divine Mother's life force come through, and then she moves us into more and more and more of who we can be, which is always our highest evolutionary potential unfolding into more and more and more. And she would never do that through pain. She would never do that through suffering. That to me is the dysfunction of also many philosophies and religions telling us that suffering is part of the design. It was never meant to be this way. It was all meant to be like, you are free. So like the open Holy Grail, Divine Mother's energy and all this life force, you know, also source light, of course, and source love comes through you. And your heart is fully open. And so you communicate with that life force. You hear it, and the life force hears you. And because you love life, which is Divine Mother, she always says, call me life with a capital L. You feel that love. And from that fullness of your love, you have brilliant thoughts, not those human thoughts, but you have the mind of your divine self. And so you expand creation into more. You expand creation into more out of love. Amazing. So think about that. The original blueprint was that everything's going to work really well. It would be so silly to create a system where you say, oh, let me create a dysfunctional world and see how that goes. And so how did that dysfunction come into being? It really, I think, did not originate on planet Earth. I saw it kind of coming to planet Earth from elsewhere. That's all I can tell you about it. I saw how beings came here and they brought this kind of virus to planet Earth. But the point is, we don't have to be part of the virus. Now, it's really hard not to, though, because the mind has been really conditioned to be so dysfunctional for, I think, all of us. And that is just simply the issue that we've had here on planet Earth. Patricia speaks about this as well in her own way. And I'll explain from my own learning from Divine Mother, which it's like almost inexplicable, or I can easily explain it, but it is very hard to apply it. And that is because, you know, this is civilization upon civilization upon civilization that actually was dysfunctional in this way. And so the original design, let's take all this beautiful rainbow light, let's flood the earth, let's flood all the beings on the earth, and everyone will love life. And this love will be so big and so beautiful. The thoughts that arise from that love will be so amazingly life-honoring, all in oneness. And then that will be expressed. Beauty. Everybody is just going like, wow, look at what we created. Everyone's personal life, collective life, everyone's just like, who can get better at this? Because we are already so great, but there might be a way to be even better at what already is great. So wonderful design. And so the design kind of failed here on planet Earth again because of all the different things that happen. And what became so dysfunctional is actually the mind. The mind stopped operating in this connection with actually the heart. Maybe this is the better image. I received these images from Divine Mother. She, you know, again, would explain all this to me. So I drew all of it, created all of it, just so that we can look at it. So the original design is we are in the middle, we are in the center, we are in the heart, and we are in love. We are in love, which is really important. Now, if you are in love and you are all love, all your thoughts are love, then all that you produce in this world as creation will also be a reflection of that love. It's very simple. So that means if you are all love, if we are all love, so that I don't point at anyone, if we are all love, then every loving thought that we have and every loving feeling that we have creates something really beautiful on the outside. And we can get very, very intentional with this, of course, because first the heart gets ignited. That's the point. Ignited heart gives an impulse to that beautiful divine mind. And the divine mind is really the architect of creation. And so you would say it is co-creation of the heart and the mind. The heart and the mind were originally designed to co-create, but not starting in the brain, starting in the heart. And then not in that distorted brain, because we didn't have distorted brain, but actually it is like the heart is on fire with love. It gives this big, big kind of impulse to the higher mind. The higher mind says, ooh, that's a great idea. Let me figure out how this can be designed. So the divine mind is the architect. It creates the building blocks and it creates the visuals and it has this amazing imagination, and the heart is fueling this. The heart is kind of like, you know, that's what the fire is. And so you have this fueling of this amazing imagination, and then you put it into kind of the quantum field, and it's so beautiful, and you let go. Because your life force now gave this all that it takes. And of course, universe says, yes, that's beautiful. Let me make this happen for you. And you see, there was no obstacle in the way. There was no doubt, which is a distortion. There was no fear, which is a distortion. There was no lack, which is a distortion. So this is pretty amazing. This is what we need to remember and then apply it. So now, how did distortion play out in this world? The Tao Te Ching is, to me, again, I always say, Tao Te Ching, translated by Stephen Mitchell. You can listen to it on YouTube and listen deeply. The Tao is the mother. The Tao is the cosmic mother we speak about. And the Tao is the only way. It's the way of love. And so they translate it in different ways, but I think, you know, unless we get to know the mother, we cannot understand the Tao, because it's really an experience, a way you see the mother, how she works. And if we don't see her, it's hard to understand her. So at least we can talk about her. And so what happened on planet Earth is that we ended up with that split brain, and the split brain no longer felt the oneness of the heart. Now the brain kind of took over, and it became this recycling machine where we recycle absolute random thoughts that just pop up, sometimes out of nowhere, very often out of nowhere. And we create belief systems that also are usually very distorted and very useless and dysfunctional, instead of being free mind, liberated mind. And so today we will be working to liberate this mind. And so then what happens is the most misunderstood really fact about creation. And this is one way to describe it. So then we have the guys who think they are so good because they are not bad. So they go into one camp, but see what they do. They remove themselves from the center, from the heart, from the oneness. The oneness of the heart is the key. So then we have one camp, and then the other camp are the guys who obviously are evil and bad and all of that. Another camp, but also you see, they too are removed from the center. And so they start to go left and right and left, which sounds like, you know, politics also. And then this is the good people, this is the bad people, you know, this is the healthy people, this is the sick people, this is the poor people, this is the rich people. but who is in the middle? So our return to Christ consciousness is actually the return to that middle. The middle is the fullness of the heart, and it's the fullness of consciousness. So consciousness and love is the same thing. Who is all loving is also all conscious. Who is all conscious, the only way it can be is also all loving. And so then the return is to that Christ self, which is the middle one. And whatever names we want to give it, it really doesn't matter at all. But it is what people call the 0 point. It is what people call the middle path. It is what people call Christ consciousness. It actually is all love beyond all dualities. When people say love is the opposite of fear, that is the misunderstanding of things, because that's just looking at this and saying, yeah, love is on the right, fear is on the left. But again, who is right and left is not in the middle. And who is not in the middle is caught in duality. But the duality, which is not actually the original blueprint of reality. There was duality, there is duality in the original creation, which is not the distorted one, and that is we will always have Divine Mother, we will always have Source as, you know, Divine Masculine, Divine Father, if you want to call it, and we will always have that point in the middle where they meet in actually nothingness, and that nothingness is actually full of love. So this is now, if you study, for example, the Tao Te Ching. So let's say somebody's feeling sick and they want to be healthy. Well, it's really hard to create health when someone is in sickness, paying attention also to sickness. Divine Mother showed me the impossible. That's why I say I can explain it, but how do we live it? But we will get to live it one day soon. I really hope that we all can collapse all of this and collapse back into that oneness of that love. And so if we feel poor, but we want to be rich, again, it might be so hard to actually create riches when we feel poor. And so that's why all the people who teach manifestation, you know, it's a great idea, but actually the deep understanding has to come from this mystical understanding. And that is that all the right and left, all the good and evil actually is taking us away from that one thing, and that is all love. And so the best path is the path of the heart. Again, so many teachings that teach that, but it's good to understand why. And this is why. Because if we feel something within us that is not all love, then probably the creation that comes through us will not be all love. And all love actually includes all the great things. For example, I know everyone wants to be healthy. I know everyone wants to be abundant. Everyone wants to thrive in every possible way. All that thriving, all that we all seek and want and desire is actually to be found only in the middle. If we reach to the right, if we reach to the left to find it, we will actually be misleading ourselves. And so the key, the practice is always asking, am I so in love with life? And if I am, in all ways, then that life, which is the mother, will be constantly showing you how much she loves you back. So to close this before we go into our amazing meditation, it is good as practice. We all got caught up in right and left. You know, I know people who constantly look at the world and they say, I like this, I don't like this, this is annoying, this really bothers me. And as long as something bothers us like this, it would be very hard to actually get a very good reflection of love in our lives. It is in that amazing, incredible, all love that we then see all love on the outside of us too. So I hope this kind of made sense, but I will say one more thing. Divine Mother told me how to create. And as you know, Divine Mother is a mirror. She's a mirror of humanity. She's a mirror of all our thoughts, unfortunately. She's a mirror of all our actions. She's a mirror of our words. And, you know, as humanity, we became so irresponsible. And I know why we became so irresponsible. We only became irresponsible because we could not see the mother. We could not feel the mother. And so when you see her, the way she moves, like, for example, here as the rainbow light, when you see her around you, flowing into you, this is how people invented, for example, yoga and qigong. They could see the flow of the mother. And so they said, oh, this is how she flows. So you need to sit like this, you need to walk like this, you need to move like this, you need to do this with your fingers. It is because they could see the flow. So they wanted the body to be in the flow, to maximize this amazing flow. And so now most people don't see her. And so they do whatever they want with thoughts, feelings, actions, words, all of it, thinking, surely we all do it. It doesn't matter what's the big deal. The thing is, that is the big deal. The big deal is that as long as we have a dirty system, meaning, you know, that's the best way I think I can describe it, dirty system, whether that dirt is in the thoughts, whether it is in our feelings, which come next, our words, like we have to be impeccable to have impeccable lives. And it is just rewiring the old system to be actually, once again, the amazing ancient system where love creates, and love creates. Divine Mother loves when we love life. She never invites us to send love to darkness. That is also, I don't know which teaching brought that idea into our, collective here. But Divine Mother just says, you are responsible for yourself to be all love. And then expand that simply by making your love bigger till it can be the love that surrounds the earth, not focusing on any specific individuals, and yet being the force that can actually penetrate all individuals equally if they are ready to open up to what you have without you focusing. To me, that's like a big deal. What Divine Mother taught is just become the force of love in this world. Expand it, expand it, expand it, expand it, expand it. It's a field of your magnetic heart. The magnetic heart is the key. It is magnetic because love is magnetic. So when you become a big magnet, then all around you is within your magnetic field, whether they know you or not. It's almost better, I think, not to know, because, we get caught up in the details of individuals. But the thing is that every single one of us can be influenced by someone greater than us. And this is how it works in universe too. This is a great picture. I actually bought it when I found it. I was so excited because this is pretty much how it works. You are the one who can expand the field of magnetic love so wide into the world, into even more than this world. And then your magnetic love flows through all who open up. And whether they open up or not is actually not up to you. It would be impossible to force someone to open up. So if someone is in the evil state of consciousness, which of course exists, it would be such a waste of your life force to focus on that one person, when you can give freely to billions who might be ready for your love without ever knowing you. In a way, what you see here is the guru principle, the one who illuminates many, even if they don't know it. So I'm always blown away how many amazing avatars are working through us, even if we don't know it. And we are nurtured and nourished by their light because we are open to it. And it's amazing. That's why we have guides. Even if we don't know it, it doesn't matter. But very often we will have someone who is sponsoring us. And so this is the amazing divine sponsorship. And so, for example, just to say, there are people in this world who are in terrible shape when it comes to, let's even call it unconsciousness, right? They just like hammer around them and they harm people. It's awful. I recognize it. But I still can only be responsible for how much love I can have for life, and to understand how unconsciousness is always causing harm. And we cannot lock them up. That is not how it works, because, you know, unconsciousness is unconsciousness. But when you become the force of consciousness, which is magnetic, everyone who is ready will pop open, and then they will help others to pop open, and then everybody else pops open until the last guy. And that's why Babaji said, until the last one. The last one still is valuable and matters. Even the last one, you know, still holding on to unconsciousness, will one day pop open to consciousness and love. And so that's why we are here, to be this, and to be it even if you are alone and never ever see anyone in your life. I, for example, I'm a hermit. I don't like being anywhere if I don't have to. And so to me, being a hermit, I get to build my consciousness. I have a wonderful family that is very conscious. They all are on the same wavelength, which is really beneficial, of course, absolutely. And so it's nice when we get to be, you know, around wonderful people on a small scale or big scale or no scale. It doesn't matter. But it's nice, you know, your consciousness is the gift you have to this world. And not only to your own life, of course, but this is the real service, to become this. And so today, let us free our mind. Wonderful. So hopefully that made sense. Again, you know, it's all about that love. That's all it is. And it's not just words. It has to be magnetic. You know, for example, you know, look at the Institute of Heart Math. They teach such wonderful techniques about magnetic love, whatever they want to call it. They call it the heart rate. What is it called? Well, I guess heart math. And so that's what it is about, is that we all eventually create these magnetic fields so that the collective consciousness is rising, rising, rising. And then, of course, even the last guy who still was holding on to unconsciousness and pain will also pop open and will also surrender to love. And so that's the whole process here that we are participating in. Coherence. Thank you. And so personal coherence, that's where it starts. So let us commit to personal coherence, which is love, no other thing. Absolutely. Thank you for saying that as well. It is, because love is the mother. Love is what sustains all things. It is the rainbow light visible. And so here we go. We're going to be doing Journey from this album once again. And it is the one where we fully liberate the mind. And it is number 6. And the meditation is 28 minutes. So I'll stop recording. So you see how this is transforming us. And just a few words about what we are transforming into. Of course, we are transforming into this. And you can think of this actually as the solar light being. So at the center of our solar system is a sun. This sun is really, really important. And again, very few humans still worship the sun, but we all should, because the sun emanates actually creation codes into us. And so these creation codes are being stepped down. Everything is always being stepped down. And so then we have another sun, for example, at the core of the galaxy, the galactic sun, also emanating light into the galaxy. I got this on Shutterstock, I think, this picture. And so then we have a sun at the center of a universe. With all the multiverses we have a sun at the center of a universe. We have a sun at the center of cosmos. And so that's how we come up with all the different suns that we have. The thing is, and I got this from Uncle Jesus when he visited last time, we are all becoming solar light beings. You can say we are all becoming Christ consciousness. You can say we are all becoming suns. And so, how does it work? The bigger the sun, the more you can sponsor others. And so, for example, our sun sponsors not just humans, but zillions of beings beyond this world. And so every single one of us deep down has the same ambition, whether we know it or not. And that is to become a solar being. This world, our planet, also has the same ambition. She too wants to become a solar world. And because it's all about light, light is really valuable. Every being in creation wants to become a bigger sun, bigger light. We all have that desire written into our divine DNA. The earth herself will one day also become a solar light world. Now, the thing is that light has different intensities. And so, you know, the light of our divine self is a very, very intense light. And that's why this light is so transformational. And so repeat to yourself all the time, if the human still steps in, you say, I am my divine self. I am my divine self. That is the only power. And so Uncle Jesus had that great quote. He says, I am the way, the truth, and the life, and no one comes to the Father except through me. Of course, religions took the quote and said, we all have to become Christians. But of course, that's not how it works. The light is the truth. The light of the divine is the only truth. What he really meant is that, exactly. Christ consciousness is our next destiny. Destination, destiny, both. And so when we embody our Christ, really solar light self, then we are strong enough to go to the source, because source is intense. That's intense, you know, intense electricity, intense magnetism. It's more electric though, for some reason. It's electricity that comes from source, and it is passed down through the guru. The guru, when, for example, I received the initiation from Yogananda, it was electricity running through my nervous system. And so we have to be able to handle all this. And so that's why it's, you know, no one comes to the Father, meaning no one can touch the Son unless they became Son too. And so wonderful stuff unfolding here. And so let us be the divine self. And if you find anything else within yourself, which I'm sure we all do, because we are still in the world that is still pretty toxic. So if we find anything within us, the power of this fire of the divine self is also within us. And that is the greater power. So this was from the album that we are working with. Once again, please, if you have $89, please support Oren and Daben. This way we can keep doing this work also. And so this was number 6. I actually skipped number 5. So if you have it, go to number 5. It is recognizing the divine in others. And to me, it is clear that we all know the divine is in all. It is in every little insect. It is in every blade of grass. It is in every human being. Of course, it is even in those who commit terrible crimes. The divine still is there. And so we are the ones with that magnetic power to flood this world with our magnetic love. And so it is. Thank you so much. We'll repeat today at 4 p.m. Pacific, and I'm flying back to California tomorrow morning. So I will make it home for 5 p.m. Pacific. And then we'll go back to our usual schedule, which usually is 11 a.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Pacific. And I posted it on the website as well. So I'll be meditating in the plane, flooding the world. And if any of you are doing meditations tomorrow morning, wonderful. I'll be connecting to you in the ethers as well. So many hugs to you too. Bye.